wine friends. Ever since I made my last video some 6-7 years ago, people have asked, well, why didn't you do it with sound? The short answer is the camera was screwed up and the sound came out all funny, so that's why we did it with just the subtitles. But now I thought I'll do another one because there's been still a lot of interest in how to open old wine properly without breaking the cork, without pushing the cork in. And we're having a big Riesling dinner here at the house tonight, and I had some old bottles, so I thought they'd be good examples to show you what to do and what not to do. The tools I use are just a regular two-stage waiter's corkscrew and then a long worm corkscrew. This is really the key. A number of people have commented, well, where do I get the long worm? They actually sell them in sets. They usually have a sleeve that goes over the outside, and you're supposed to use this like an Archimedes screw that pulls the cork up. So I just buy them. They're like maybe $10, and I throw that plastic piece away, and you have a long worm. So just look around in your usual sites. I very seldom use the Aceto or the prong. I've actually seen where this has broken the glass around the lip of the bottle as it's pulled out. So unless it's really stuck on the glass, like for a very sweet wine, I rarely use this. And everybody should probably have in their arsenal the Durand if you don't have it. They're not inexpensive, but handy if you get really in trouble and there's no other way around it. You can use the Durand. But the problem with this is that it often can ruin the cork as it goes in. So if you have a date that you're looking for, or the cork that you want to keep, it can shred the sides of it as the blades go in, and also introduce those little flecks of cork into the wine. So unless it's really necessary, I use these. So we'll just start. These are all 83 Rieslings, and we'll just see how they go. So. First rule of thumb, remove the whole capsule, remove the foil. I don't understand what the reason would be to save this and simply cut this top part. That seems a standard waiter practice now, but not something that I think does anyone any good. Why I remove it? Well, this way you can see if you're actually pulling the cork out or not, or if it's broken along the way. So you have an extra guide to show you your progress. I try sometimes to save these the top of the capsules because they're decorative, but this one's, as you can see, this is leaked. There's been some seepage at some point, and it's a sweet wine, so this is all kind of glued on. And these are just generic. It's not like it said the maker of a famous chateau or something. So then there's always some dust and crud and crystals and all sorts of things. So just wash that off now with a rag. And there you go. Cork actually looks pretty good from the top. It looks pretty new. So the first thing, use the waiter corkscrew and go in. I try to find the striations of the cork. So these are going perpendicular to my body here in straight lines. And so I want to cut through as many of the lines as I can. That will give the cork some added strength. The other thing is the point of the corkscrew, I'm going to push down towards the counter through the cork, not down into the bottle. So at a 45-degree angle, while I'm pushing this down, it's going to go straight down into the cork, and I'm going to be pushing against the glass bottom of the bottle. This way, the cork doesn't accidentally get pushed in, and there's actually some physical strength holding the cork against the point of the corkscrew. So down through the serrations, straight down. There I go. So now I'm in, and now I start turning. And then I'll go level out. And you want to go pretty much as far as you can that the lever of the corkscrew will work. So I could go a little further until about there. Now I'm just going to get it started with the waiter's corkscrew. So just a few millimeters out, if it will. Good. All right. So it's moving all as one piece. This is a great start. Now you're tempted, you think, oh, this is working so well, just go out. Well, what happens is this corkscrew isn't really long enough to catch this last bit of the cork. So as the cork weakens as it comes out from that trip, from all the way down here to all the way up here, the friction in the bottle will cause the cork to crack, break, and you'd be left with this piece, more often than not falling into the wine, forcing you to decant, which maybe you don't want to do. We got about this far, and then I put the bottle back on its side. I slowly ease the regular corkscrew back out, and then in we go with the long worm. As best you can through the same hole, so we're not trying to break the cork up more. And until I can see the end in the bottle. There it is, right down there. I'm not sure if you could see on the video. So now just with my hand, I'm going to push on the top of the corkscrew and with my pinky here, and push down with my thumb and index finger on the glass, pulling the cork out. And as I do, I'll introduce a little bit more worm, and so on. So now I have plenty of worm in here, 2-3 whole turns, that if a piece broke off, that I would still be able to catch it. And I can even introduce more at this point since we're almost out. So there's a little piece breaking off. I'm not sure if you can see that. Little piece breaking off right there, which now, as I pull the corkscrew out, I'm going to sort of gently lift the corkscrew to the glass. See, the cork is totally broken. This piece would have been inside. Towards the glass, catching that last little piece, and out it comes. So you can see even that. So that's a cork that definitely would have disintegrated if we had just tried to use the standard waiter's corkscrew. I'm old-fashioned. I give it a smell. If it smells like wine, that's great. I'm not looking for the nuance of the wine, just that the cork has taken on the wine scent, not the wine taking on the cork scent. So I set that aside. I give the bottle a sniff. Smells good. If they have a good smell, I usually just take a bar cork, a clean cork, and I'll put it in here until I'm ready to go. If the smell was off or not quite what you thought it should be, I'll leave the cork out, but leave it in the fridge or in the cellar for a couple hours. And more often than not, just leaving it with the slow oxygenation will blow off the any musty smell. Obviously, if it's really corked or TCA or any other major issue, that's not going to improve. But this, in general, tends to work. So this one's done and ready for the party, and then we'll try a few more just to go through it. Okay, we're going to try it again just so that you can see the repetition of the action, and you can and see how it's done in greater detail up close. So first thing we do, take off the entire capsule. Again, we have seepage, so this is going to be sticky and not want to come off. Again, it's a generic capsule on top. There's nothing really I want to save at this point. I didn't mention before that sometimes I said that if you need to use the Durand or Durand or the Aceto prong corkscrew, that it can shave the date off corks. At this point here, this is a great time to take a picture of the branding on the cork, because you can see it perfectly now. So if you have a bottle with no label and you need to know the date, this is a great time to take a picture. Cork looks great, looks brand new. This is again 83 Spätlese. So we took off the whole foil. We look for the striations on the cork, see they're going this way. So I'm going to now go pierce through those layers with the tip of the corkscrew down to the counter, pushing against my thumb and against the bottom glass, not into, down through. There I go. Make a couple initial. Now we cut. Now we're holding on to it, and it won't slide in. And easily put the corkscrew through. Gently give it a lift. Just a couple millimeters. It's in there. Ease the corkscrew out. No need to rush any of this. You know, we're trying to be gentle. This thing is fragile. Easy. Now go through the same hole if you can. We don't want to break the cork any more than it needs to, until you see the bottom of the worm in the bottle. There it is. See? And now we'll ease it out. Again, pushing with your thumb and index finger against the glass. Pushing it out. A little bit at a time. And then again, introducing more worm. Again, that's to catch this, but also so you have the same hand position. You're not changing how you're pulling it. It's the same repetitive motion. And again now, so we started to crack in bits and pieces. You can see some cracking bits, and there we go. Got it again. So you can see how if you had gone through with a regular corkscrew, or if you had put a regular corkscrew only, let's say, that long, look how much would be lost. Okay, one more time. Foil off. Some people call it capsule. I think technically, if you look in Lacheyne's book, it's called a foil. Another great looking cork. These bottles are turning out nice. I wish I had a harder one. See the striations of the cork. We're going to try and cut through those. Pushing down, not in, and then turn. Easy. Just a little bit. Oh, this one's pretty loose. You can see this one actually starting to breathe. So the air is just being introduced. It's a sign that the cork was tight, so that's good. Occasionally, the cork can be so tight that as you're pulling it out, this will create suction and the cork can snap back or pull in a little piece of cork. But again, if you have enough worm in there, when you try to pull it all the way, in general, you won't get that snap. Back through the same hole. Cork starting to break slightly. Oop, and almost move in. You see that? When I pushed it with my thumb, it moved down a little bit. So this one's really loose. Introduce the worm. And out it comes. That was the doorbell. Oh, sorry about that. The door rang. Inevitably, you may lose a little piece here and there. The other good thing about the worm is that usually just with it, I can coax. Whoop. I can coax it out. So that little piece happened to be where the point of the corkscrew pushed it out. So that was sort of inevitable that there's no way around that unless you happen to put the cork in a different place. So, but we caught it. That's what's most important. All right, one last one. Off comes the foil, which is sticking. See, there's a nice one. You can put that on the table with the cork. Makes a lovely little decoration. Here you can actually see where the seepage was with the darkness. This is a little less good cork than the others. Give the whole thing a wipe. And then the usual procedure. Very hard to see the striations on this one. So in general, rule of thumb too, I put the label away. So if there's going to be my camera person is coughing. If it's going to drip, it's going to drip away from the label, the part you want to see and the part you want to save. So If you can't see the striations, this is a good way. And then in we go. Again, down towards the table into the cork and then turn. Get it started. Now this one's very loose too. See it turning? I'll put my thumb on it, see if I can get the corkscrew out. In with the long worm, same hole. And this one's pretty loose, so I feel like this will kind of come out in one. There's the corkscrew in the bottom. Oh, already a little piece broke off from the cork screw punching through the bottom of the cork. This will come out easy. There, it breathed. That's that. Smells like wine. And you could see this one is a bunch of tartaric acid crystals on the top too, around the cork. And then we'll see if we can coax this last little bit out. There it was. There it goes. Yeah, nice. So that's it. That's opening old bottles. We'll do some more maybe from time to time. Hope you get something out of it. And yeah, get yourself one of these. You'll be glad you did. Thanks. Always let your trusty cameraman have a smell of the good wines.
Yummy.
You think you'll have some of that one?
Raisiny.
We don't have the 6 petunias very often. Prices, you know.